Hey guys, how's it going? Michelle here from Gardening TLC. I am still at the 1904 farmhouse with a second part to the video because while we were here, we had to do a repair on some basalts, which is a water feature that we put in 5 or 6 years ago, and it needed a little bit of a repair. So today I thought I'd take you through and show you how that water feature went together, how you hook up the pumps, how you run the pipes, because we have to pull the whole thing apart, and it's a good opportunity to teach you how to put one together if this is something you're thinking about. So come with me and let's go do the basalt. All right, here is our basin right here, and this is sunk into the ground. We are using cinder blocks inside of here to help hold the weight of the basalts because it is a plastic top. So what we're going to be doing is re-threading the wires and the tubing up through the basalts, and there's one right here. There's a taller one right there, and then the medium one is right here. We just laid them to the side. And then we have a splitter so that we can run the hose up all three of the basalts from the pump. This is the splitter that we use to run up through the basalts. So we put the longest one closest to the water source because that's where the pressure will be the highest. Then the medium one goes here and the short one goes here. Because as the water goes through this and goes through the pipes, we want to make sure that the strongest flow is closest to the water source. Now we're using a 1,000 gallon per hour pump because we have to travel up all three basalts and get the water to the top. All right, next what we're doing is we're just going to clean out the basin and make room for a half brick that we bought, and then we'll start threading the basalts and the lights back through the pillars. So this was the piece I was actually waiting for, and so this is the Tranquil Decor. It's an LED statuary 3-light kit, and it has 3 LED lights in it that come up through the basalts. You thread the wire up through, and then the top of it sits down where you drill, or where the hole is drilled out. So they look like this, and what happens is this part right here sets down inside the hose. So you can see there's threads on here, so I can set that in the hose. That's what holds it in place, and then you thread the wire through the basalt, comes out the other end, and then all 3 lights attach to your little, your little plug box. Your little plug box right here, and then you plug it in and then they light up. So when we took it apart, the rocks fell down into the bottom, so now we're just kind of scooping them out so that we've got a nice flat layer. Turn that the other way so that that's on the bottom. There you go. Yep. That way we're using a little broken half stone because I want to be able to have him get his hands down inside of here to take the pump out every winter. So now we're just going to get that in there so that we can use it as a weight-bearing piece for the grate. You would think that you wouldn't have to do this, that this grate would be thick enough. I mean, it is pretty thick plastic, but in my experience of doing this, I have seen these cave in from the weight of the basalt over time. So you would think that this would be plenty thick enough, but it's really not when you get all 3 of those basalts on there. And it is a heavy-duty plastic, but I don't know, live and learn, because I've done it without those bricks in there and seen it start to cave in and sag without the bricks. So we use the bricks. Okay, we have now attached the pump to the splitter. So we attached it here and put a clamp on it, ran our little hose to the pump, and then here we attached a clamp that has like a finger screw. You can get these at like a hardware store or an automotive store. And what it does is it allows John to get in here and easily undo this clamp, because that is where he's going to pull the pump off. Now here in Northern Illinois, we have to pull the pump. So you pull the pump in the winter, you put it in a bucket of water, and then you put it someplace where it's not going to freeze. And you want it in that bucket of water so that the seals that are in that pump don't get ruined and they stay wet. But this makes it so much easier. Now the other thing he has to do is he'll get his shop vac out and suck all the water out of this, because this is a plastic reservoir, and even though it's a thicker plastic, we don't want it to crack in a freeze-thaw cycle, so he's got to get all the water out of it too. We also attached clamps at the end where they attach to the splitter, because I guarantee you, you do not want those blowing off of there because of water pressure, and then you've got to take the whole thing apart just to attach a hose. For just in case, I always put the clamps here as well. One of the things that we just did was we took the lid to the basin and we put it in the grass. We have set the 3 basalts on it because I need to know where to thread the hoses through the lid. And if you don't know exactly where you want the hoses to go, it makes it really hard to place your basalts and then visually make them look good afterwards. So what we do is we put them on here, we mark it with paint, we pull them off, take the lid, put it over the basin while we thread the hoses through, and then we can put the basalts on and run the wires for the lights through. I don't know if there's an easier way to do it, but this is how we do it. So we're going to stand it up, and as we stand it up, I'm going to pull the hose so it doesn't kink down at the bottom, and then Pedro will push this so that it's below the level of the rock. That's the light. Ready? Up, 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 up. Nope, now you're going to have to go up, all the way up and then back down. Okay, yep, and then down, down, down. I don't think it's kinked, but... Can you lift it just a minute so I can look?
I think it's good.
Oh, it is good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Muy bien. Well, we get to do that all over again. We put it on upside down. Isn't that how it always works? All right, we have to do the whole thing over, pull it off, rethread it, and flip the whole basalt so it's not upside down. Yeah, you think I'd done this a couple hundred times. Yeah. All right, we have all the basalts in place. I've stood back, I looked at them, I like where they are. We've threaded the lights through. Now we're gonna hook the lights up, plug them in, make sure they work. Then we're gonna plug the pump in, make sure it works before we cover the grate with any rock. That way, if we have to do any adjusting, we do it before we cover it up with rock. It is very humid out here today. Okay, moment of truth, we have the basalts up. Now, when you go to plug it in, let's say that you don't have good water flow coming out of all three, a lot of times that'll be you have a kink in the pipe someplace underneath, so you got to find that kink. Or if you have like regulators, like we had those little valves on the splitter, I can turn the water volume up or down to get it where I need it to go. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Oh, the lights work. Water any day now. Oh, there they go. Oh, perfect. Oh, that's good water flow too. We got lucky because a lot of times you have to adjust a little bit. So there you go. There's our water flow. And the one thing you want to check before you cover it all up with rocks is you want to make sure the water flow is falling back into the basin and not into the outer perimeter around the basin. Otherwise, you'll have water loss all the time and then you're constantly filling this thing up. So that would be a key thing to check for too, is where is the water falling? And that might be where you have to adjust the water flow or even adjust where the basalts are. All right, now we're gonna cover it up with rock. All right, there we go. It's all done. The water flow looks great. John now has a finger screw on the clamp that he can use instead of a screwdriver to make it easier to get on and off. The pump is right here. You just have to move the rocks back, take your shop back, evacuate all the water, and then just use that thumb screw to take the pump off. It's so easy. All right, I ran back to the store to get some more rocks because I don't want to see the little edge on the basin. And when you're doing any kind of water feature and you're covering up that basin, you don't want to see it. Man, rocks are heavy though. It is only 84 degrees out, but it feels like 95 even in the shade because it is almost 100% humidity today. I'm a hot mess, but I don't care. I am so happy that these are done. I think I'm going to stay here for a while and just enjoy the peace. And don't you love the sound of water? These turned out great. I'm glad that they're done and they're fixed and that John and Becky can enjoy them again. We've made it so that the pump is easier for him to pull out, put it in a more strategic place. I think it got moved, or I'm not quite sure what happened, but it wasn't in a spot where John could get his hand in there, and that was why he didn't pull the pump out. So we've made it easier for him, and hopefully now this will run for years and years and years. I hope this video was helpful and that it gave you guys some insight as to how a water feature works when all of the water disappears underneath. So whether you're doing a triple basalt like this, or even like that urn fountain that I have at the store, or a bubbling boulder, which all came from different places. The urn that I have at the store is an Aquascape product. This is from Easy Pro. And then I also have the bubbling boulder that a company here in town drilled the hole in the rock for me, and then I just put it in. The principle of how you put it together is the same on all of them. If you have any questions about the process though, maybe I didn't make something clear, just ask below. So I'm Michelle. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you get out in your garden today. It deserves some TLC, and so do you. We'll see you in the next video, you guys. Bye, everybody.